Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to another Warframe Revisited video here on the channel. Now, this is number 12 in the series, so if you haven't seen the others, please go and make sure you check out the playlist. And obviously, at this point in the game, if you've not really played the game or not watched the videos, spoilers do lie ahead, so make sure that you are up to date with the lore. Now, the one that we're doing today is technically, some people would class it as a side quest, but it is technically essential if you want to go into the new war. So, the quest that we are doing here is called the Rising Tide. And it's all to do with Railjack. This is where you'll first get your Railjack, and you basically got to build it. So, to face a growing threat, a long dormant Cephalon calls on you to reconstruct an Oricon-era interceptor craft, the Railjack. Now, this one, the reason I say it's a side quest was it wasn't brought in until the Empyrean update, so that was like update 26 in, oh god, when are we talking? I believe that was towards the end of 2019 now. So what you're going to do is we've got to install Cephalon site in the dry dock. For some unknown reason, it's taking us to the Leonov relay in Europa. Now, I personally would have thought that would be in the dojo, but apparently not. Now, we are only going to have to do half of this quest, because normally you'd have to repair all the pieces and build all the pieces, but we've already done that, so they realistically shouldn't make us do that for this quest. But all in all, it's quite a long quest. There's a lot of pieces to get, which is why this is one of those quests that I am going to split into 2 videos again. So just like I did with the Second Dream, the War Within, and still to come, but I will also be splitting Chains of Harrow and the Sacrifice, because they are longer quests. But if we go load straight into the Leonov relay, we'll go to this dry dock here, and we'll go and install Cephalon Psi. I still don't quite get this relay, to be honest with you. This relay does confuse me. It apparently has a dry dock. Why does this relay have a dry dock? Wow.
Hello, I am Cephalon Psi. You will refer to me as such.
Hello there, Cephalon Psi.
The sentient threat has learned from past defeat, reforming, rebuilding. We must rebuild to contain that threat. We will reconstruct an old war-era Sigma series Railjack. A Railjack requires a viable command Cephalon. I am not a viable command Cephalon. I will identify a viable replacement. But first, recover the wreckage. Then, assembly. Return to your orbiter.
So the actual first main quest that you're going to do in this is go and recover the Railjack's fuselage, or fuselage, however you want to pronounce that. But we can just go into navigation from the relay itself, so might as well do that. And to do that, we're going to go to Ares on Mars. So, all in all, as I say, this is technically not a main quest, but it is essential that you do this quest before the new war. That is why I've put it in this series, because if you haven't already done it, you will need to get this quest completed. And each piece that you rebuild as well is fairly expensive, and they do take 12 hours a piece, so you're going to want to try and get that going now. Otherwise, there's a risk that you might not get it done before the new war, which potentially could be as soon as the end of next week. So, make sure that you get going on that, guys, if you haven't already built your Railjack.
Drive traces in proximity. Locate and mark for recovery.
There's a rock claw there, I might as well scan it because I can use those in apothex. And at the moment I'm trying to farm some stuff up off the Silver Grove Spectres. So if you haven't done the Silver Grove quest, you'll know, if you have done, then you'll know all about apothex. But if you haven't, they're like these little liquids that you make. You go and use them in a special grove on Earth missions. You get given a Spectre, you kill the Spectre, and the Spectre can give you like rare mods that the Spectres can only drop. For example, Growing Power, which is the aura mod that I'm trying to get. So yeah, if you haven't done the Silver Grove quest, that's a useful one to do, as you'll get some really good aura and stance mods and stuff that will be really beneficial to certain gameplay styles. So, alright, I kind of remember how we're doing this one. So you find a piece of the railjack, and we've got to scan it. And whilst that happens, we've got to stay in close proximity, but keep the enemy out of close proximity. Fairly simple to do.
Scan cannot continue until the area of operation is clear. Get on it.
I'm very glad I chose the pass move for this. Absolutely brilliant weapon this is. This is probably going to be my new war weapon, I will admit. Why is it surprisingly difficult to keep enemies out of a white circle? Oh dear. I forgot about these. Eidolon Vulnvalist interference drones. They're surprisingly annoying to take out as well. And each of the pieces gets harder and harder to recover as well.
Confluence aggregator roasted. Something has nested in the fuel intakes. Astroframe integrity 87%. Component viable. Cephalon orders. Rendezvous with Tenno at extraction point.
Well, that was simple enough. First one is fairly easy to get. I mean, you've just got to hold off against a few Grenier. And that's not too hard to do. And that gives you the fuselage piece. So then obviously you would go and repair that in the dry dock, which those... As I say, you've got to fund quite a few resources for each piece, and they take about 12 hours. In fact, just installing Cephalon Psi himself does cost as well. Psi himself actually costs something like, if I remember right, he costs a load of tellurium, he costs some former, some circuit salvage and credits by the looks of this. I mean, he costs a lot. Oh. So once you've repaired the fuselage, you would go and install it. For some reason, it's telling us to go and install it. So if we go back through to the dry dock, we would then install that piece.
I have not seen a railjack in some time. I remember
So normally this is where they would get you to do the repairs, but thankfully, because we've already done it, we don't need to do that. So once you've repaired it, you'll then go on to this next piece. Now, as I say, each piece requires quite a few resources. So that one just would have required... Oh, I forgot they've actually reduced the cost. And I think they've also reduced the repair times. But that would require 5 cubic diodes, 250 plasters, 1250 rubido, and 3 neural sensors. So still fairly expensive, but nowhere near as bad as it used to be. But yeah, that would now take a minute as well to repair. So they have actually reduced repair times and costs. But the next bit that we need is the propulsion system, which we get from Cervantes on Earth. Now this time we'll actually get 2 waves of interference drones as well. So overall it gets slightly harder as time goes on. So if we go straight down to here,
void contamination points to bleed out from RAILJACK catalytic artery. Locate and assess.
so yes, this one can be annoying to defend.
Propulsion systems, the most advanced ever produced. Scanning. Remain in proximity. Neutralize all hostiles. Perimeter breached. Scan interrupted. We do not have time for this.
This one's really annoying to defend because they just come in constantly.
Perimeter breached. Clear them out. Tracing. Scan.
You know what? I'm gonna do something that you guys probably won't be able to do, because to be able to do this you must have done Profit Taker, which that requires you to be rank 5 with the Solaris United. But once you have reached that, you'll know what I'm talking about. You can get what's called a Gravimag. You equip it on a max rank arc gun, and then you can use that arc gun in a mission. So I'm going to do that in order to be able to use the Mausolon, which should help clear up the enemies a little bit quicker, because it pretty much one-shots them and has an extremely fast fire rate.
Scan cannot continue until the area of operation is clear. Get on it. Interference drones detected.
So here we actually have a couple more interference drones, as I said. They're easy enough to kill. In fact, if I just use my ult fire from my Mausolon, I should one-shot them. There we go.
Objective.
That one-shot ult fire just speeds things up a little bit for us. If we then get back into the circle, we should be able to continue to scan if we can keep them out of the circle.
Have time for this. Scan baffled by interference drones. Destroy them. Back to work. Let us get this over with. Scan cannot continue
We are slowly but surely getting there. And as long as it stops spawning so many enemies, we should be good. Now that we got some energy, if I use the discharge ability, that should be able to help us.
Perimeter 3. Clear them out. Resume scan. Orgone accumulator blown. Etheric condenser vaporized. Viable.
So now that we've got the propulsion systems, we need to go and install that in the dry dock, and obviously normally you would repair it as well. So if I just head there and install it, then I'll tell you guys how much it will normally cost to repair. Ooh. So now we install the propulsion, which will normally cost you 25,000 credits, 5 carbides, 250 cryotic, an organ cell, and 1250 nanospores. And again, we'll take a minute to craft.
Zada dances our ship through forward lines. Crody identifies and prioritizes targets. Sukin's turrets track and terminate. Our reputation is earned. Our objective, a Turaga-class worm ship. Zada plots an arc. We accelerate. Ancient history. The dead have no needs. The living require that propulsion system. Propulsion restoration complete. Void breach residue identified on Lua. Probable nacelle location. Recover if viable.
So the next one we need to go and get is the port nacelle, which we get on Plato Lua. Now this is where it's going to start getting a little bit harder, because this time we're going to get 3 rounds of interference drones, and we are now going to start getting sentient units. So we're going to get some conquilists and battleists. We're probably not going to get many of the conquilists or battleists, but might get a couple that will come and try to stop us as well. So, as I say, starting to get a little bit more difficult. Now, I actually struggled with this quest when I first played it, I must admit. It was, I found it quite difficult, particularly trying to fight off the sentients. Like, sort of, the 5th and 6th pieces, so last 2, was where it really got particularly difficult in my mind. So much so that I think I gave up on it for a little bit and then came back to it about a week or 2 later. Like, I didn't do all of this in one go. It was too annoying in my mind. Just couldn't stomach it. Now here for you guys, I mean, we're going to get it done in 2 sittings, so... This little bit here with the Abora Flora, not many people realise, but if you activate the 3 terminals going from the bottom up, you'll actually trigger the Abora Flora, and when you then stand in the area, it will give you massive energy replenishment. This one's also quite an annoying one to defend if I remember correctly. Thankfully it is mowers, so likelihood is that they're going to end up shooting from a distance, which stops them from getting in the circle, but we need to go and kill some interference drones anyway, so... If we can get in the circle and clear them out, then after that hopefully no more enemies will come back in the circle. And we'll manage to keep it going steady. Other than that motor, who else is that? Oh, they ran through the circle. That's annoying. Right, got some more interference drones again. Thankfully we haven't seen any Battlists or Conquilists yet, so that's useful. But they'll probably spawn in the last little stretch. So that was the second round of interference drones. There is going to be a third one as well. So yeah, now not only have we got the Vonvalist interference drones, we do also have some Battlists and Conquilists that we need to try and defend against. Which is going to be annoying. But obviously we can use our Tenno operator to wipe out the immunities of those sentients with void damage. So yeah, if you didn't know, now you do. It's quite a simple thing really, but void damage from a Tenno's beam or void blast or anything like that basically wipes out any sentient damage immunities, allowing you to basically deal your full amount of damage without them resisting any of it. So we just need to wipe out any enemies in this circle and then keep it defended, not for very long at all, really. 10% will not take that long. Once we clear out the circle, it'll probably take about 12 seconds, roughly. There we go, we've almost got it, and we're done. Then if we use our speed boost to get out of here, that'll make that simple enough to do. Then bada bing, bada boom. We're free to go and put that one into the Railjack itself. So, as we head out of the mission and towards the dry dock, we got a sentient core out of that mission, as well as the port nacelle, and a little bit of oxium as well, which is always appreciated, but that sentient core would be quite useful for the quills. But that in mind. As we head towards the dry dock to go and install the port nacelle, those of you that are repairing the port nacelle, again, it will now only take a minute to repair, and the new cost for that is 25,000 credits, 5 carbides, 400 circuits, 2,000 alloy plates, and 10 control modules. So getting a little bit more pricey on that one as well. So yeah, if you go and install that for the first time, and this is the first time that you've ever done the quest, that is the price that you'll be expecting to pay. So if we go and sort that out really quickly, head upstairs in the Leonov relay, then head through to the dry dock, head to the main console where we'll interact and install that part. Then we'll get a little bit of a monologue off site, and then we'll get a second monologue when we have repaired it, even though we have already repaired it.
Plots a data gathering map around the worm ship. Sukin targets exposed launch orifices. Power redirects to the Tunguska capacitor. With a pull of the trigger, we will end this. The moment arrives. The moment arrives. Tenno, my precepts. I am not a viable command Cephalon. I will continue my search. Continue repairs. Port side nacelle restored. She is coming together. Next site, Venus.
So now we've got to go and get the other nacelle, the starboard nacelle. And to do that, we have got to head to Tessera on Venus. Now, oh, my sister's just appeared out of nowhere to speak. Sorry about that. So, this one's very similar to the last one. However, each time that we get interference drones, you'll actually get a few more. And obviously, there might be a few more battleists and conquilists in this one. So, pretty much the same as the port nacelle, but with slightly more sentience. So,
Starboard nacelle located. You need this.
we use the speed boost to try and get there a little bit quicker. This one should be simple enough to want to defend.
Sights up. Safety's off. Perimeter breached. Scan interrupted. We do not have time for this. Maintain defense. Hold position.
So at first, just 2 Vonvolist interference drones. Simple enough. Honestly though, it's almost like the sentients know we're trying to rebuild a railjack, ready to fight back against them. But it's not exactly what we're doing, really. Yeah, it is. That's exactly what we're doing. But the fact that they know is quite intriguing. So now we've got 3 Vonvolist interference drones on this second wave, and we've already got Conquilists and Battleists spawning as well, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, there you go. There's your conquest already.
It has developed immunity to your attacks. Try something different.
So for those of you that are watching that haven't already done this quest, that are about to start it, good luck. It does get quite hard, I must admit. You're going to need something that's got decent health and health shield armor. But not only that, you're also going to need something that can do a decent damage output and is good against your sentience in particular. And I mean, for those of you, I have had a question come through about my Tenno and why his like Tenno beam isn't actually a beam. That's because I'm running a different amp. So for those of you that have been to the Quills, you will have been given the Mote amp. Now, the Mote amp, yeah, it's good. You've got lasers that you've got a big laser beam that you can shoot, but it's not that good. But if you actually collect the parts and make them, you can build your own amp as well. So that's what my amp does. It's got two attacks. It's got like a short blast beam, but it's also got that little discus that I keep using that ricochets off enemies and hones in on enemies as well. So we've now got a couple of battle lists, and we actually have 4 on the list this time. So arguably getting a little bit harder now to go up against, but all in all shouldn't be too bad. You should be able to manage it. It's, as I say, it's the last 2 that I struggled on, but this one was a little bit harder, but I managed it, and it shouldn't be too bad for you guys. By the time you're doing this, you should know what you're doing with the game. You should be decent at modding and stuff, so you should have a firm grasp of how to make your weapons powerful enough to fight the sentient immunities and fairly high level Grenier and Corpus, because at this point you are fighting sort of level 30 to 40 at this point. But to be on the wall within, you must have completed Sedna realistically, so well, you must be on Sedna, which that takes high enough level. I believe you've got to be sort of 35 by that point. So your weapons should be strong enough to handle this, but it's the sentience that might cause you a little bit of a bother. But as long as you stick to what you know, you should be pretty good. You should be pretty good to go. It's arguably not that hard of a quest overall, but can be a little bit challenging to a new player. If anyone needs advice or help, let me know as well, and I'll be glad to be of assistance to you guys. And if you need clan to join as well, you're more than welcome to join us in Dragon Vale. A few resources there. So if we head straight back to the defense spot and clear out any enemies that are there, then we're just going to defend it shortly for the last 10%, which won't take long at all.
Vision tanks ruptured. Otherwise, fine. Cephalon orders has been signaled. Proceed to extraction.
And we'll use the speed boost to get out of here quickly. So, with that in mind, I know we've not done much, but we have actually already recovered 4 pieces, and obviously the repairs aren't too bad, but with that in mind, that's where I'm going to end this first half of the Rising Tide quest, because I'm aware there's only 2 more pieces, but they are going to be a little bit longer and there's a little bit to do after you've got them. But with that in mind, guys, thanks for watching this video. I hope you found it informative, enjoyable and fun to watch, and I'll see you all in the second half.